This is the American Sentinel, and we have a badass show for you today. Let me know if you want to get down in a weird way.
Can also stroke.
Going in the wind as an empty of the truth that it's naked. It's verbatim and it's shaking. Na 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 na. No more getting elated. No more listless invitations.
I live by a hospital, and every day I go out walking past its sickly windows. I see people dying there, but my tender age makes it hard to care. The incinerator and the big smokestack, it's a phallic symbol and it makes me laugh. All I need is a heart attack. Come on, humble my bones with a cardiac.
Going in the wind as an empty of the truth and it's naked. It's verbatim and it's shaking. Na 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 na. No more getting elated. No more listless invitations.
For the love of fuck, for the sake of me, did you ever really think you'd love a guy like me? I am a rooster in the morning, I'm the cock of the day, I'm the boxer in the police, I'm a 12-ounce steak. Ayo.
Welcome to the American Sentinel. I love you, and I love being here with you. My name is Patty Ramsey, and we are live from the Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, where the Scots-Irish formed a rebellious culture in these United States and refused to take shit off of any king, off of any man, including George Washington himself, when he tried to impose tax on our whiskey. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are being broadcasted to from the heart of free America, what's left of it. And the question for all of you today is, are you going to live free? Or are you going to run like a coward from the decisions that you made and have somebody else clean up the mess? The real question today is the toleration of communist? Is tolerating socialist communist behavior and government and infiltration akin to or as similar to or the same thing as running with the devil? If you allow communism in your country, if you allow someone like Mamdani to be elected into the New York City that was known for its independence and its freedom in 1776, where George Washington crossed the Delaware River on that cloudy morning when he fled the English soldiers, first from Long Island, then from Manhattan, where Alexander Hamilton arrived, the son of a bastard Scotsman and a prostitute in an island in the Caribbean, and wrote the Federalist Papers and worked in a law firm to create so much of what we know of as America. If you would allow that to be subverted into communism, then shame on you. And there's a question that I'm going to pose. There's a question that I'm going to pose for all of you people who have lived free for generations, whose ancestors have not put up with shit. Here in Tennessee, we have the Battle of Athens. Some people call it the Battle of McMinnville. When we had a corrupt government post-World War II, corrupt sheriffs, corrupt councilmen, corrupt county commissioners. They were rigging elections in Middle Tennessee. And when all these World War II veterans came back from the war, they saw what was going on in their country. And they said, They got their rifles, they raided the National Guard Armory, and they went to work. They went to war against the sheriff's department and the local government. And finally, they won their freedom within the system of freedom within the United States of America. And by the way, that's what the right to bear arms is. All of you people in New York City who go, I believe people should be able to go hunting and even defend themselves, even have a shotgun. They should be able to have a shotgun, like a double barrel, in case someone breaks in their house. But no, weapons of war don't belong in the home. They don't belong in the streets. That's just my opinion. And when did your family come to America? Oh, that's right. Less than 100 years ago. Those of us who are called Class A Americans, Grade A Americans, pre-Revolutionary War Americans, if you have at least one ancestor, one familial line that's pre-Revolutionary War, then you are a Grade A American. I have family members who have been here since before the Revolutionary War, who fought in the Revolutionary War. And of course I have some ancestry from Ireland who has been here not that long. But that old Scots-Irish mountain revolutionary begs me to look in the face of you who say you shouldn't have weapons of war. My family came here from Ukraine. They were in the pogroms. Oh, good. And weapons of war don't belong on the streets. No, weapons of war belong in the hands of revolutionaries. And you go from being a citizen to a revolutionary the minute that your government besmirches the honor of its commitment to you. And you go from being a subject to a citizen the moment that you arm yourself. Do you see the ladder of escalation? Do you see the ladder of empowerment? You go from being a citizen to a subject the minute that you arm yourself, and you go from being from a subject to a citizen the minute that you arm yourself, and you go from being a citizen to a revolutionary the minute that you are armed and your government besmirches its commitment and honor to you. It is the duty of all free and courageous men to overthrow a corrupt government when it becomes corrupt. And how in the fuck are you going to do that with a double-barrel bird shotgun? A shotgun that I use to shoot quail and dove with so lightly that it kills them but doesn't damage the meat. How in the fuck do you expect that you're going to defend yourself against an army? The only reason that we have a Second Amendment is to defend ourselves against a tyrannical government, whether that be foreign or domestic, whether that be our own government or an invading army. And right now, we have an ad hoc of both of those things. We have a gaseous mixture in the carburetor of liberty that is combusting into something that we don't like. Before we move on and talk about that mixture between this tiny nation in the desert and our corrupt politicians who wants to be what George Orwell said was the boot on the face of the citizen forever in the book 1984. Before we move on, let me remind everybody, I don't do this very often, but if you like the show, if you like Patty Ramsey, if you like the American Sentinel, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Join us on X. Join us on Rumble. Join us on YouTube. Follow us wherever you can, because we need you. We've been shut down. We've been canceled. We've been kicked out. And we need Americans like you. Free people with free thought and liberty in your heart and revolution on your lips. To subscribe to this channel and to keep us going. We're not selling anything. We're giving it away for free because liberty, in its essence, is only freedom blossomed. Help me blossom that by joining us on all the platforms. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. At the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, there was a paper called The Tangerine. And in that paper, a young girl said, "It is officially time to change the mascot of the University of Tennessee from the Volunteers to the Big Orange. We've been known as the Big Orange, the University of Tennessee Big Orange, because of the big orange, bright orange apparel that's worn by our sports and athletics teams, and it covers the University of Tennessee in many ways. But it's time to officially change from the Tennessee Volunteers to the University of Tennessee Big Orange." A Mexican lady wrote this in a book in a local newspaper, a local student newspaper. She says, "Much like the University of Mississippi stepped away from the rebels and discluded themselves from using the mascot Old Reb, who was a throwback to the Civil War era Confederate rebel, an era where black men were imprisoned and enslaved by rich white Southerners." She went on to say that the Volunteers were rich white men who were bloodthirsty Anglo-Saxons who traveled from Tennessee to Texas to kill Mexicans who looked like her parents. She, of course, is a Mexican. She says she's American because she was born here. Now, I don't believe that. Do you believe that just because somebody's born here, they're an American? No. I'm born here. I'm born here just like you, motherfucker. She said she's born here, so she's an American, and that the University of Tennessee should change its logo from the Volunteers to the Big Orange because the Volunteers, like Davy Crockett, like Samuel Houston, who went to the Alamo to defend and create the new state of Texas, this new bastion of liberty in the South of the United States, were racist rich white men who wanted more land for more slavery and only wanted to kill brown Mexican people. That's what she said. If that were true, then who gives a fuck? That is our history. But it's not true. Davy Crockett was not a racist man. Davy Crockett went to Texas for one reason. Davy Crockett was a politician. He came from the same place in Northern Ireland that my family did, Ulster. He came in at the same time that my family did, from Ulster, but he wasn't like us. See, his real name, going back, was Crocketanier, and that was because he came from the French Huguenot family, aristocrat family, and they married into the Kingdom of Ireland and then moved into Ulster, Northern Ireland from there. And he was always a politician. He came from politicians. And when he got to Tennessee and he raised a farm and he intermingled and intermixed, much like Sam Houston did with the Cherokee Indians, he loved them. And when his former military commander, Andrew Jackson, set up the Trail of Tears and sent all the Indians on reservations, Davy Crockett, who was a United States congressman, vehemently opposed it. Samuel Houston vehemently opposed it. Samuel Houston was married to a Cherokee Indian woman. And he left and went to fight for a new Republic of Texas because he wanted to leave all this behind and go have something new. He could not stand. He could not stand that the Cherokees were being put on the Trail of Tears to Oklahoma. And that's the truth of it. And these people, they don't care to learn the history. Samantha Hernandez, I think her name was, Samantha Hernandez. She doesn't care to learn the history of our people. She doesn't care to learn the history of this country because she has no roots in this country. This country means nothing to her. She just sees white men who were successful and wants to change that. We are still living in the repercussions of a civil war that happened in 1860s. And they tear down our statues of our heroes. They tear down Thomas Jefferson, a Revolutionary War hero who wrote the Declaration of Independence, most of it. They tear down our Robert E. Lee statues in Virginia and in Savannah, Georgia, and in Charleston and in Charlottesville. And they try to erase our history, which, by the way, the fastest way to corrupt a man's soul is to erase him and detach him from his history. You will not erase us from our history. You will not detach us from our pride. of being strong, independent Americans. Thomas Jefferson had this thing when he came back from France as an ambassador, and he said, yes, Americans need to be smart and intellectual and understand mathematics and philosophy and abstract thought and art and all the things that make us cotillion and cotil and profoundly gentlemanly. But they also need to learn how to run a trot line and skin a buck and farm. He believed in this agrarian culture, that the Americas was an amalgamation of small farms, worked by small groups of people. Thomas Jefferson knew that you had to be civil, you had to have politeness, you had to have a polite society, but you also had to have a side of you that was revolutionary, that was rough, that was violent, that young ladies could look at and say, that's the man who I want to marry. That's the man who I want to protect my children when I have them with him. That's the man who I want to lay in bed with at night and feel his muscles. And we are not teaching our young men that. We are not teaching them. We're teaching them to be like Le Fou and not like Gaston. Do you know what that means?
Oh, how it pains me to see you, Gaston.
There's no man in town quite as manly. Do you see the difference? That sick fucking Epstein-like creature that engulfed our politicians through AIPAC. That sick spirit of the East that came out of Khazaria that bought off your politicians wholesale, who behaved like Le Fou.
Oh, Le Fou. Oh, how it pains me to see you, Gaston.
They want to buy off all the Gastons, so there are no more manly men. These people, they come here and they want to participate in a benefit system that benefits them. They come here and they want to have everything that America has to offer, but they want to dissolve your Constitution. They want to dissolve your history. They want to separate you from the knowledge of your past. They want to separate you from the dignity and the pride that your founding fathers sacrificed themselves. Let me tell you something. For those of you who are grade A Americans and who don't stand up for white, Christian, Western values, who say, who cares if America gets browner? Who cares if America gets a little bit more Mexican or browner? Who cares if they import some Somalians? Then fuck you. This is my destiny. This is my history. I think about my ancestors in the Revolutionary War, and I think about Abigail Adams and the wife of John Adams, the senator from Massachusetts, and he tells his wife, I need you to collect ammonia. I need you to collect potassium nitrate. I need you to collect sodium nitrate so that we can make gunpowder, so that we can make cordite. There's not enough gunpowder in the colonies to fight the British. And then you had this general, George Washington, who had to fight the British and be selective with his shot placement because he didn't have enough gunpowder to keep fighting. And so much of what George Washington would do, and the reason he lost so many battles at the beginning was because he would fire what bit of ammunition he had and then go fight hand to hand, sword, saber, knife, bayonet. So these men were willing to lay down their life in the snow and in the shit and in the swamp and just swim through rivers of blood, piss, and shit just for the opportunity to have some freedom, just for the opportunity to pursue a legacy and happiness. And you are such a faggot and such a pussy that you would give it all away? Who cares if they vote in that darn communist up there in Minneapolis? What's his name? Omar Fatah? Who cares? They're all damn Somalians up there anyway. They shouldn't be. They should be expeditiously repatriated back to that shithole country from whence they came. And these senators and these politicians of Somalian descent who have obfuscated our immigration policy by marrying their brothers like Ilhan Omar, the Palestinian representative Rashida Tlaib, this new who's going to be the mayor, speaking in Arabic, in Somalian, Dalalikte, and Alhamdulillah, and speaking this shitty language and looking with a fucking skull that looks like a light bulb, and he's going to be the new mayor of Minneapolis? Do you think he cares about the Constitution? Do you think he cares about those free white men who weren't free at the time? They were subjects of King George III, and they fought with bayonets and swords and pitchforks and whatever they could get their hands on. They fucking trudged through cannon fire from the greatest army in the world and the greatest navy that ever float the seas just for the opportunity to have a taste of freedom? Do you besmirch their legacy? Do you befoul their legacy? By inviting these foreign hordes who were invited here by the Jewish AIPAC money to disgust the legacy of our forefathers. I don't care whether you are a grade A American pre-revolutionary, whether you're a grade B American, post-revolutionary, pre-Civil War American. I don't care if you're a grade C American up till Ellis Island. I don't care if you're a grade D American, Ellis Island and above. If you are any one of those four and you have this much legacy, you are an American native, then you must stand up for these Christian values. You must stand up for these Western values, and you must speak to power. These people want to destroy and dismiss this history that is beautiful. And then you have these fucking nasty Jews these Zog machine Jews like Randy Fine. Randy Fine introduced a bill to Congress that says, if you, and by the way, they've already taken this up on the state levels in many states, even including Tennessee and Texas, who you would never think this would happen. If you disrespect the Jewish people, if you blaspheme with anti-Semitism, it should be 4 years automatically in jail and a $400,000 fine for anti-Israel speak. And the right-wing Jews go, we don't want Sharia law. We fight it in Israel and we'll fight it in New York City. The right-wing Jews cause the wars. The left-wing Jews invite in the refugees. The refugees then run for office and then strip you and me of our rights. The right-wing Jews cause the wars. The left-wing Jews bring in the refugees from those wars. Those refugees then take a place in government, and then they displace us. The displacement of white Americans, the displacement of Christian Americans, the displacement of American natives, American ethnics, people whose families have been here and buried their bones from Virginia to Georgia to Kentucky to Tennessee to South Carolina and Texas, Ohio, Missouri, and all these places where there was nothing but Indians and wilderness, and we created civic populations and cities out of nothings. These Jews who didn't have the power, who could never assimilate into our system, have then brought their allies in. In New York, you have Mamdani. Do you think that he came in without the approval of the Jewish powers that be? Do you think that Larry Fink from BlackRock didn't subsidize this? He's putting him on every single one of the channels that he owns. Do you think Larry Ellison, who owns Snapchat now, who owns TikTok now, who owns CBS, Paramount, who owns everything in media, and his sons own what he doesn't own, who keeps platforming Mamdani and making him look like he is the new American hero, even though he is a Muslim, socialist, Sharia law advocate who's going to ruin the greatest city the world has ever known, New York City? I lived in New York City before, for years. I met my wife there. I loved it. It was beautiful. The history, the buildings, all of it, it's all going to go away. And for that reason, I must propose what I'm going to propose next. Some of you aren't going to like it. Some of you aren't going to love it. But when you tolerate communism, when you tolerate Jewish Zionist infiltration of your government, when you tolerate Sharia law in your own backyard, in New York City, in Flint, Michigan, in Dearborn, Michigan, in Minneapolis, when you tolerate these leftists to come in and dictate policy that allows black people with Glock switches to murder each other in massive swaths in Chicago while simultaneously collecting EBT and Social Security and healthcare and Section 8 housing all off of your hard work and labor dollar, then you are running with the devil. If you tolerate this shit, then you are running with the devil. And you can run with them all day long, baby. You run it till the wheels fall off. But don't run to daddy. Don't run to Uncle Patty Ramsey. I propose that the states of Tennessee, Texas, Kentucky, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida propose an income tax. Now, the rest of those states can do whatever they want, but us in Tennessee, I believe that we should propose an interstate tariff. An interstate tariff, an interstate income tax, which means if you haven't had a Tennessee license and a Tennessee license plate for more than a year, and you came from New York or New Jersey, then you should have to pay a huge tax if you come down here and buy a house. You look around here in the South, and we used to be able to buy houses down here for $75,000. I bought one years ago, back in 2019. $74,000 I paid for a home. And that same home sells for $250,000 now. Why? Because you have BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, Larry Fink on one side buying up every single family home in America. And then you have all these people who were mostly liberal white women and their cuck fucking husbands, their cuck faggot husbands. Oh, you didn't think we knew it was you? Oh, yeah. So you're trendy when you live in Boston. You're trendy when you live in New Jersey. You're super trendy when you live in the Hudson Valley, when you live in New York or California. Yeah, like totally. Like, why not vote for Mom Donnie or Obama? Like, my husband Matthew was a total Bernie bro. He it's democratic socialism. We're not going to put you in food lines. Like, what the fuck? And they talk like that. You know how I know? Because I've lived with them. I've seen them. I've partied with them when I was living in New York City and when I lived in Boston. I've seen them. I've been around them. They do anything to fit in with that cool. Look how cool and hip and virtue signally I am. Yeah, Mom Donnie, of course I got vaxxed. If you move to Tennessee to flee the bad decisions that you have made and the repercussions of your political vote, then you should be taxed interstate. A house that cost a Tennessee native $100,000 should cost you $150,000 for an interstate tariff. Because you are running from what you created politically, and then you are buying up houses that the local people here cannot afford because the exchange rate's not the same. You do a firefighter's job in Tennessee and you make $20 an hour, and that was a good wage to live on up until 2016, 2017, 18, and especially 20. Firefighters in the FDNY in New York City are making $100,000 a year plus benefits, plus retirement, plus all these things. So when they come down here, they buy a house sight unseen. They buy it right off the internet. They've never seen it. $500,000. Boom. Cash. The exchange rates between certain states in this country are not the same. And so what you see is what a lot of liberal, rich white people, specifically men and women whose women run the fucking show. Men who are cuck faggots. Who would let their wives get fucked by some black dude while he sits in the cut corner of the fucking hotel and jacks off. You are a faggot. You don't deserve her. You need to stand up, grow some fucking hair on your testicles and chest, and tell her to shut the fuck up. Wow, Bradley, you're really gonna talk to me like that? I'll talk to you like that, bitch. And it will set something off in your pituitary gland and in the amygdala of your brain, and it's going to let you know that a man is home. And now, you may menstruate regularly. You may be attracted to me, not just because it was cool and hip and liberal, because I had a trendy beard and a tattoo and I played the guitar, but because I am a man filled with fucking testosterone, and I am about to show you what that means. But you'll never do that. You'll let this Jezebel bitch run the fucking show, and she'll convince you and your little fucking faggot children to vote for Mom Donnie. Because it's trendy. Even though Mom Donnie tells you, I'm going to tax white people. White people need to be taxed more. They have more economic availability in New York City. White people are going to be taxed at a greater rate. He said that. He said that on Face the Nation. He said that on local New York City news. He said that everywhere. And you fucking white women to be trendy, line up to vote for him. And the first time you feel the sting economically of losing 60% of your income through NYC city tax, through New York state tax, through federal income tax, what do you want to do? You want to move to Nashville. I like it here, and it's like, I'm not actually moving because of Mom Donnie. I really do like him. I'm saying that in front of my black friends who are now benefiting from my hard labor. But like, I really like Nashville, and it's like super chill. And now you're gonna move down here with your boyfriend / husband Greg, who fucking lets you fuck other dudes while he acts like a cuck. And then you're gonna throw on some cowboy boots and act like you were here the whole time. And you think we don't notice you? You think that your behavior doesn't stand out like a sore fucking thumb? No. We need to write our congressman. We need to write our governor and our state representatives at the state level, at the bicameral house, at the state level, and say, we need an interstate excise tax. 1, anybody moving to Tennessee, anybody moving to Texas, anybody moving to Alabama, from any of these fucking bullshit states like California, New Jersey, Connecticut, who voted for this shit, who haven't been here and rented an apartment for more than a year and a half. They move down here. They want to buy a home. Boom. Interstate tariff. You are going to pay for what you corrupted. I sincerely am going to draft that. I'm going to draft that resolution and put it on my governor's desk within a 48-hour period. I'm going to start a petition here in Tennessee. I hope you do in Texas. These people cannot ruin big portions of America and then come running to us, buying up our houses, increasing our property taxes, demanding that guns be taken off the street and our Second Amendment be fucking reduced to hunting and self-defense. Because, like, I am a country girl. Like, I grew up near Central Park. Like, I get it. Guns are cool, but, like, nobody needs a weapon of war. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Thou shalt not speak among the men. All these people who you allow to come in this country, they don't give a fuck. All these people you vote for and allow, like Mom Donnie, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Omar Fattah. Every single liberal vote for a Jewish Zog machine system where AIPAC controls both parties allows more of these people to destroy America. In the Federalist Papers in 1776, it was read, John Jay argues in Federalist number 2 that the American people are a single, unified people suitable for one strong national government. This was him going against the Confederation of States, but for more of the federalization of all of America. And this is what he said. Suitable for one strong national government rather than a multiple confederacies presented and highlighted in their similarities in ancestry, language, religion, and principles, and emphasizing our shared history of fighting together for liberty. Now let me back that up. Highlighting similarities in ancestry, language, religion, and principles. And emphasizing our history and fighting for liberty, a shared liberty. Do you think any one of these Somalians who jumped off the boat for one fucking reason, which was to receive the benefits of your forefathers? Because our ancestors created something that theirs was intellectually incapable of? If they could have done it, then they would have done it. Like the American Renaissance founder Jared Taylor said, you make it seem as if we whites were choking to get to death on our own homogeneity when someone like yourself was kind and courteous enough to jump off of a boat or an airplane and come to America from Pakistan and India or Palestine and say, I've saved you from your own monotonous whiteness. I've saved you from your own homogeneity. No, thank you. We were just fine. You were here because Jews wanted to not feel so isolated. They wanted to control a vote. They wanted to subvert white Europa. Congratulations. You are a biological weapon. You are a biological weapon sitting here as an attack unit against me. Meanwhile, on the right wing, we have cops showing up in Texas. Police officers, state police officers, Texas Rangers showing up to people's house who have criticized Israel online. Showing up to people's houses in Texas. You know, Texas, that's what we were just talking about. Remember the Tennessee Volunteers? Sam Houston, Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie. They all went down to fight for the cause of liberty and give this new state, the Republic of Texas, a place in the new world where free men could pursue destiny. Imagine being at the Alamo and knowing that you are going to die within 3 days. Colonel Travis knew he was going to die. He said, any man who wants to go, let him go. I cannot command you who are in the militia and volunteers, and I cannot command you to die. What I do beg of you is that you would stay, though, and buy me the time so that our great general, Sam Houston, can make his way here to San Antonio de Bejar, which was what the town was called at that time. He said, I do not wish to convince you that we will survive this battle, but only that Texas shall survive. Imagine that. Colonel Travis. Austin, Texas is called Travis County, Texas, named after Colonel Travis. You go to the high schools down there, and it's Jim Bowie High School, David Crockett High School. These brave men who knew they were going to die in that Alamo. That little stone brick mud church in a little town called San Antonio, where men came with this American spirit, this European spirit to fight for something beautiful. And their commander, Colonel Travis, said, I do not wish to tell you that there will be a future for you, but only a future for Texas. Only a future for our children. Only for a future of those who wish to be free in this land. I only wish to buy time fighting this massive army. He had a few hundred men, and he held off for multiple days against an army of 8,000 people of Generalissimo Antonio de Lopez de Santa Anna. Murdered. All of them. All of them killed at the Alamo, and Sam Houston said, remember the Alamo! Remember these free men, these free white men who fought and died and sacrificed themselves so that we could have the Republic of Texas. Only so that maybe a few 100 years later, maybe 100 years later, maybe not even that, Jews can jump off the boat at Galveston, Texas, and in Ellis Island and in Savannah, Georgia, and make their way into local government. And then within 100 years, our police officers, other white and black men, American natives, American ethnics, are showing up to the homes of free Americans, free Texans. And they're not Texas Rangers anymore at that point. They're Comrade Commissar. Comrade Commissar, he wants to know if you have extra food hidden beneath the house. Comrade Commissar wants to know if you have been thinking extra thought about the Communist Party of Russia. Yara vota Ruski, Teljanitsky. That's what they sacrificed themselves for at the Alamo. That's what David Crockett and Jim Bowie and Colonel Travis sacrificed himself for at the motherfucking Alamo, so that politicians can be bribed off by AIPAC, the America-Israel Political Action Committee, which is an extension of the Mossad, who, by the way, does anybody know what the logos of the Mossad, the motto of the Mossad is? Rise and kill first. These people who want you replaced, these people who want you dead, these people who want you gone, they have bought your politicians. They have bought up your government. And it is disgusting. It is fucking disgusting. And what's more disgusting is that you let it happen. You can't even pick up the phone and call your congressman. You can't even pick up the phone, call your senator. And now we have this illusion coming in. In the triangle of death, there is war, famine, and pandemic. Let me repeat that. In the triangle of death, meaning the things you need for mass casualty, mass catastrophe, there is war, there is famine, and there is pandemic. And these things go together hand in hand. Look at the American Indian War, famine, pandemic. Look at Russia during the Holodomor. They always create famine. Famine. By the way, all these fucking people, they go to a place called Skull and Bones at Yale University in Connecticut, or they go to the Phoenix Club at Harvard. And inside the Skull and Bones, it's written on the wall, war and famine. Those are the two things that they use to control people. War and famine. Do you understand why? Because when there is famine, mothers will eat their babies. Mothers will chop their babies up and feed them to their own children to keep some portion of the family alive. And they'll always, and by the way, you should read the Holodomor papers. You should read The Gulag Archipelago by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who talks about the Jewish Bolshevik communist takeover of Russia, his homeland, before he was expelled. You don't believe that mothers fed their infants to their other children because they hadn't eaten for a month and they were starving to death? You will be surprised what you do. What you do after a month of starvation. You will be surprised. In reading all of Alexander Solzhenitsyn's work, from the Gulag Archipelago to 100 Years Together, or I think it's called 300 Years Together, The History of Jews in Russia, you will see that the KGB, the intelligence agency, the KGB, wasn't actually founded until the Holodomor, the Great Starvation, as they called it, where the Jewish people who took over the government in the Bolshevik Revolution started starving to death all the Orthodox Christians. And they destroyed over 59,000 Orthodox churches in Russia and starved millions of people to death. And the KGB was started only as a group that went around as an intelligence gathering for food. They were seeing who was hiding food. And there was really clever ways to hide food. People would have a little garden that wasn't flourishing much, and underneath of it, they would have food stores, rice and grain. And at school, they would tell the children, you must report your parents if you see them to saving food, because this is a slap in the face of Communist Party. And children would go and rat their parents out. And then they would tell the children, if you're really big part of Bolshoi Partyekia, you must execute your parents. And these children would execute their parents with a pistol, with a Makarov pistol. Hundreds of cases of that happen, recorded cases of that happening. Or you could go into 3 generations of imprisonment, which meaning you, your children, and grandchildren would be imprisoned in the Gulag Archipelago. And that's how the KGB was started, as a food-finding agency, because they would create famines. And then in the massive media publications, they would always blame it on the farmer. The farmer, the rich white Cossack, they would call them. That's a Jewish word for the Russian people there. The Cossacks are causing inflation by gouging the prices of wheat from Ukraine, or gouging the prices of potatoes. And they cause these famines because famines create distrust amongst one another. You will not believe what you will do to keep food in your belly, to keep food in your child's belly. Within 3 days of hunger, the world goes crazy. Within 1 month of hunger, people are literally turning to cannibalism. Think of how long you could go without a single sustenance of food. Some people don't do it. They starve to death. The British realized that. Look at the Irish potato famine. It wasn't just the fungus. It wasn't just the lactobacterius the Lactobacteria salivarius whatever that was growing, that was creating the offset of the fungus. It was actually the English were creating blockades. They were creating guano blockades. They were creating all kinds of blockades around Ireland because they wanted that starvation to happen. They wanted people to flee so that the lands would open up. Do you fucking understand now? The triangle of death. The three things that always go together to create instability in a region: war, famine, disease. War, kinetic. Famine, no food, starvation. Disease, pandemic. These things are the triangle of death. And this is what the Democrats, and to some extent the Republicans, who are, by the way, they're not your party. They're not your friends. They don't think like you. They don't vote like you. They don't understand like you. They don't give a fuck about you, these Republicans. Very few of them do. And the ones like Thomas Massey that actually do, your president, the one that you love, the MAGA president, Trump, he turns against him because he doesn't take AIPAC money. He turns against Marjorie Taylor Greene because she doesn't take the AIPAC money. These people are trying to institute an artificial famine by creating a class, a post-Lyndon Baines Johnson class of blacks and browns and poor whites too, who were dependent upon Section 8 food stamps, Section 8 housing, Section 8 families first money, Section 8 government assistance, an intergenerational dependence class who was dependent upon the middle class, der Mittelstand, to go to work and to produce revenue, to produce income, to produce labor, so that they can excise the tax off of you and give it to those people who are on the dependent underclass. And those people should be thankful. They should be on their hands and knees. Thank you, sir, for going to work and feeding my children. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for going to school and becoming an engineer, doctor, lawyer, whatever you are, a tradesman, so that my children can have food stamps because I am a piece of shit, or I am indigent, or I am blind, or I am whatever I am. But they're never that way. Y'all motherfucker need to give me my motherfucking stamps or I'm going to start stealing. You're going to start stealing? Bitch, you've been stealing. Y'all motherfucker need to give us our food stamp before we start rioting. Start rioting? You've been rioting. You've been rioting on the streets since George Floyd, and in every single fucking scary movie that I've ever tried to go see since the beginning of time. Your obnoxious fucking behavior has been pre-existing to this situation, but this is known to those who pull the strings and the levers of power. This is known. This is just an instrument of articulation. This is just an instrument of articulation. Oh, yeah. And they are creating one pillar of the triangle of death. They are creating an artificial famine. People of a lower, more violent class of human who are dependent upon you, who don't realize that they are dependent upon you hardworking Americans to go to work and produce for them. And they are threatening to hurt you if you don't produce more. In the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, my whole life, my dad's whole life, you'd see Yankees come down from New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Westerners out in California, and there'd be signs everywhere, and they'd say, "Don't feed the bears." Don't feed the bears here at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park because of one reason. If you feed the bears, they'll become dependent upon humans, and they won't survive without you. They won't go hunt. They won't go forage. They won't go be bears. All that they will do is wait for humans to give them food. So don't feed the bears. But yet, year after year, each summer, my family would go to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, and you'd see some Yankee from New Jersey. "Yeah, I'm going to give the bear a little bit of bread and honey. They like it. Oh, get away from the bear." And what would they do? the bear would be as happy as a fucking pig in shit as long as you're feeding him peanut butter and jelly. And then the minute you ran out of food to give the bear would take umbrage to that. The bear, who didn't have the reasoning and social skills to think maybe there is no more, maybe the food supply has been exhausted, would just take it as, fuck you. You don't want to give me any more food? You don't want to give me any more peanut butter and jelly? This is an affront to the bear community to not have peanut butter and jelly. To not have any peanut butter and jelly once you have given a bear peanut butter and jelly is basically like calling the bear the bear equivalent of the N-word to his face. That bear would do what he always done. He would turn on these fucking Yankees, and you'd see park rangers have to go after these bears and fire shots and shit because these bears would attack. And you'd hear about it every year. New Jersey man, Connecticut man, Delaware man, New York man, Massachusetts man attacked by a bear after feeding bears in the national park. But fuck those people. They should have known better than to feed a 400-pound, 500, 600-pound, 700-pound bear. Anyway, the truest of the statements in all of this is not that feeding the bears can be dangerous for that one idiot who should be on the Darwin Awards list, but that feeding the bears creates a fucking dangerous class of bears. A bears who see humans as a food source. A bears who become dependent upon our handouts and are mad at us when we don't give it to them. A group of bears who will, instead of going and foraging the woods for nuts and berries and honey, and foraging the woods for something to hunt, something to kill, fish, they would rather be dependent upon humans and then get mad when humans don't give it to them. Because they don't know how to do their own thing anymore. Because they don't know how to be bears anymore. And this is what these government officials are instituting with these fucking EBT Section 8 welfare dependent underclass of violent, mostly blacks and poor whites and browns who are saying that they're going to steal and murder and rob if they don't get their food stamps. You have fed the bears in the national park, and now the bear is turning on you. But that's by intent. That's by design. The Hegelian dialectic says you must train 49% of the population to enslave the other 51. You must train 49% of the population to enslave the other 51 so that the other 51 rise up and fight that 49%. Because out of revolution comes chaos, and out of chaos comes solution. And the whole design of the Hegelian dialectic is to be the solution to the problem that you caused. Do you get it now? Does it make sense to you now? That there is no artifice here. There is no facade here. Uncle Patty's tearing down the curtains. You have walked the yellow brick road. And you have came into the Emerald Castle. And you see the big face, the big mask. But Toto just ran over. I'm Uncle Toto Patty. And I ripped back the curtain. And you see the little Jew pulling the strings and making the faces. And the Wizard of Oz. The wonderful Wizard of Oz, he ain't shit. It's all an illusion, baby. This is the American Sentinel. My name is Patty Ramsey. And I love America, baby.